So how do you like your motor? Do you like it to be a rotor with a chunky Bridgeport in it? Or do you like it turbocharged? Or you like a big NA? Kyle Organ-Moore's got himself 6 litres in the front of his car. On the front row of the grid, it's turbocharged power, and the Nissan of Marinelli right next to him, Hudson, in that beefy 13B Bridgeport. Right next to Kyle Morgan is the other two dads competitor in P3, Odell Fontana. Then we go back to Dukes and Lawrence, Clements and Swarbrook. Then we go to Cook and Isarena, Wade, Wilkinson, Kingston, Johnston, rounding out the 14 at the start of this race. Lining themselves up on the grid. Darren Smith here with you for the last race of the day. Cameron Vanderducken right alongside. We know, Cam, you're going for that number 65. That heartbeat, the rotary engine.
A quick little updates for you. Brock Payne off the rear of the grid had a broken exhaust, and Hudson in the RX-7 has a 5-speed gearbox. There was a change there, so he doesn't have all 6 gears on board.
So we've changed the diff in the Lawrence car so that he doesn't lay number 11s, but let's watch him do it anyway. Plume of smoke out of the 6, Customary clearing the throat. RX-7, Marinelli rolling before the start. He checked it, but Organ-Moore looks for a gap down the inside, goes to the outside. It's the number 6 of Simon Odell Fontana that looks to the inside as well. They're looking very racy into turn 1. It's going to be Marinelli that sorts himself out very nicely indeed. Lawrence goes backwards off the line. It's the ex-Beric Linton BMW charging up there, and it's pink livery glowing in the setting sun. But Marinelli's got a very fast RX-7 driving right round the outside of him, and it's the 65 of Hudson. The drag race now up the back straight. It is going to be the turbo power that starts to dominate towards the end of the straight. It's now all about brakes as they unload into turn 3.
Marinelli kept the inside line there through the turn, and all that Hudson can do is tuck in behind him. Odell Fontana goes with him. Organ-Moore holds on the 4th. This is the battle for the lead on your screens on the live stream around Australia and around the world for the Shannons Nationals. Troy Marinelli, Zach Hudson, 18 years old, new to this category, and enjoying everything that 13B Bridgeport engine has to offer.
Everything old is new again. It's a Datsun and it's a Mazda at the front of improved production at the moment. They charge up to turn number 6. It's Troy Marinelli in the updated version. They call these ones Nissans these days, and he leads the way. Have a look at them all start to bunch up. It's BMWs. They're left, right and centre at the moment in this improved production race brought to us this weekend by MCA Suspension. Troy Marinelli, race leader, got pinged for that start that he did, so he's got a 5-second penalty. He needs to drive away now. He's got 11 laps to establish 5.1 second lead in this race to stay in the front of it. You get the feeling, Cam, that the number 65, Hudson, is not going to let him do that.
No, he's just tucking in underneath at the moment. Ambient starting to drop away. Marinelli covers off, looking further back in the order. Good to see Dukes make his way up into 4th. Organ-Moore falling back into the clutches of Aaron Lawrence. Lawrence has the inside run. Is he able to get the job done as we move back to the front? Zach Hudson sitting in 2nd position, tidy through there. Marinelli doing what you said he had to do, Darren, and that's gap the field by at least 5 seconds.
Just watching Cook in the number 37 Escort. He's been racing that car since the early 90s. Man after my own heart. He's had it ever since then. Kind of like Gary McKay with his GTR Tirana in the Victorian Improved Production Association. They've been running these cars. They're their pride and joy. And have a look at that little Esky. Comes onto the straight out of turn 4 and chasing it down. The interesting one here is that Kyle Organ-Moore has dropped a spot and he's not really being able to fight back. These bigger cars have to fight hard early in improved production racing because the two cars we're just looking at there, the BMW and the RX-7, get stronger and stronger as the race goes on.
So Marinelli not able to get further up the road, or not much further up the road. Look at the braking difference there between Hudson and Marinelli. So a 5-second penalty hanging over the head of Troy Marinelli that leads this race from Zach Hudson. Odell Fontana 3rd, Stephen Dukes in 4th. Aaron Lawrence with that diff change has got himself up into 5th. Organ-Moore, all sorts of hassles with the BMW of Clements behind him.
Clements took out the last round at Morgan Park of this title and is really looking forward to showing it to the rest of this field for the rest of the 2019 season. So we'll keep an eye on that car as well. Currently in 7th, the number 55, and working pretty hard for it.
Good job by Justin Wade as well. He's up into 9th at the moment, doing a little bit of development on that car. So not where he hopes to be, but progressing through the field in front of Izarezina at the moment. They round out your top 10.
It's quite interesting to come to Queensland and see an improved production race and see Justin Wade not inside the top 5, or at least the top 5, normally in the top 3. So development phase with this particular car. There's the little Escort that I was talking about earlier on. A long, long career with that car. Here we go. It looks to the inside here. I hope someone's told Zach that that car he's racing has got a 5-second penalty as they go side by side through turn 1. Marinelli staying fat with it right round the outside there, and that's a brave, brave old move from both of those guys not to back out of it. It was the performance of the Nissan that actually got the car past the RX-7 that time around as the turbo just starts to pour on the power. The normally aspirated 13B just not having the answer for it.
Great driving from both of them, as you mentioned, Darren. I was impressed with the young Zach Hudson. Some young drivers can sometimes get caught up and run a bit wide, and it could have been an almighty incident down there at turn 1. But also, you've got to give a lot of credit to Troy Marinelli, just keeping the right boot planted and hanging to the outside. And he remains in the lead of this race. But remember, 5-second penalty actually drops him back to 5th at the moment on the road he would be.
So earlier on in this race, Marinelli and Hudson finished very, very closely together, and there was a fair old gap back to 3rd place. So at the moment, he could drop back, but at the end of the 10-lapper, he certainly had a gap, so we'll just put him back to P2. There's that BMW that we were talking about earlier.
So yeah, Justin Wade just holding on. They've swapped spots a couple of times. Emma Francesco, you've got an update for us.
Just catching up with Brad Hudson and Zach sitting in 2nd position, looking good in a bit of a battle, but you actually prefer him to be conserving some fuel at the moment, wouldn't you?
Yes, very much so. With a 12-lap race, there's only about 10 laps of fuel in that car. So it's not ideal. We're out there chasing. We would have liked to got out the front and chasing the other cars. Going to burn some fuel for sure.
Thanks, Brad. Good luck.
It'd be interesting to see. They've got the radio headset on there. If they've given him the heads up that the 5-second penalty, all he has to do is just stay in behind Marinelli. He did run out of fuel. Zach Hudson, that is, who sits in 2nd place at the moment. He ran out of fuel yesterday after the checkered flag. Didn't make it past turn 2. So hopefully he'll drive and conserve to get this race when he was the winner of race 1, then had gearbox issues. The race yesterday, he actually lost 2nd gear, so that's why he's gone to a 5-speed gearbox for today's race.
Justin Wade and Izarezina there as well. The former drift racer now in the RX-7, trying to make a life for it in improved production in motorsport. Coming out of drifting, just about the opposite here. It's all about suspension travel and keeping the wheels pointing in a straight direction as much as possible, not with double knuckle steering and that sort of thing. With no suspension travel, it's all about getting as much travel as you can and controlling the dampers, particularly in RX-7 with a solid axle rear end. No IRS in the RX-7s. They do tend to move around a lot.
Something happened with Swarbrick then. He dropped right off the back of Izarezina. We'll keep an eye on it. Might have been just the power differential between those cars. We heard from him just before the race with Emma Francesco. The old car, I think he said of Barry Clinton, didn't he? In that entry just behind us. Izarezina now has another look at Justin Wade. Caught up with Justin this morning. He said the car is being developed, is getting better. There's still plenty of work to do.
Baskerville for the Nationals this year. Justin Wade has been a regular on those scenes around the country. Quits himself very nicely indeed. And I tell you what, if they get the 160, 170 they had at Phillip Island and the Ben Motorsport Park, you're going to need to line them up side by side around the entire circuit to get a race.
It is a good point, Darren. A lot of improved production competitors from around the country tuning in, and a big hello to all of them on the Shannons Nationals live stream. I believe entries are getting close to the 50 mark at the moment for the Nationals at Baskerville down in Tasmania. Plenty of time left, still many months to go, but it'll be interesting to get your entries in. Particularly, I think Ray Hislop, who's dominated for years, might have a bit of a harder time at Baskerville than potentially a track like Queensland Raceway.
Yeah, it's his home event though, isn't it? He's travelled all around the country and dominated the Nationals for so many years now. He's a Tasmanian. I think he'd love dearly more than anything to take the title in Tasmania. Of course, Roger Hurd, after many years with his Tirana, took many Nationals in the early days of club cars and the early iteration into improved production as well in the Tirana. Oh, here we go. It's Dukes in the number 98 out of 17th place there, off into the gravel. That I'm sure we'll bring a safety car out at turn 6. That's not a good spot. We saw a roll over there in the MRF tyres production car race. It certainly brought the safety car out. We've got 6 laps remaining in this, and that's going to be a horrible pull out. That's really right up to the floor pan there. That's dug in. The sand trap's done what it wants, just in case. We'll make sure we'll dig a hole.
Hasn't been called just yet, Darren. They'll want to continue as we look to our timing monitors. They've kept it green for now, but they'll be having a very close look, the team in race control, and an opportunity again as we start to close out our Shannons Nationals weekend to say thank you to all of our volunteer officials. Darren, you and I have both been officials over the years, and it's been a beautiful weekend for all of them weather-wise, and we thank them.
It's been a lovely weekend, a lot nicer than what it was 3 weekends ago at the state round at Sandown. I think it nearly snowed down at turn 4 at Sandown a couple of weeks ago at the affectionately known hot dog round. And look at this battle here. This is a good battle here. The 26 and the 96. This is for 4th and 5th in the race. Dukes and Lawrence solved the problem of the number 11, but gone back down through the field a tad.
Looks like Clements has stopped on the link road as well. So I think he's parked and out of the way in his E36 BMW. As we watch Aaron Lawrence through now. Well done. So he moves up a spot.
I reckon the message has got through to Hudson now too. He's just let that battle to play its course at the moment, just letting him ease away. So the message has obviously got through the radio communication there. That car in front's got a 5-second penalty, and we need to save fuel. Please do so.
Aaron Lawrence now sets his sights on Odell Fontana. Dukes is out of the way. That diff change has certainly settled that car down for him as we look at Zach Hudson.
Safety car.
Oh, this is going to help Zach Hudson. A couple of laps under safety car will just conserve enough fuel, hopefully. Remember, there's 2 laps he has to conserve. In a 12-lap race, only got a 10-lap fuel tank. Now, Darren, for those that are new to this category, as we're watching the 29 car, Avisa Rosina dropping further down the order now. No, he has. He's dropped behind Swarbrick as well. As we see the Dukes car still buried there at turn 6. Fuel tanks in these cars, Darren, they don't normally do longer distance races, so part of the power to weight and making sure they put customised fuel systems in, and they don't carry an awful lot of fuel, so sometimes it becomes a bit of a balancing act as to how you do it. You'll often run a spare fuel tank for the longer distance races as well.
Many of them do just run a foam-filled standard type tank as well. You'll find with the BMWs like this one, it'll have the standard tank because they've got them under where the rear seat would normally be, so great for weight distribution. There he goes, spinning off, pirouetting all of his own as Herford in the other BMW just continues on around behind. So safety car now under control. The ANCAP safety car. We will go to a quick break here at Queensland Raceway, round 4 of the Shannons Nationals.